Well, I've just went to Argos to collect this phone, and well, I figured I should probably give this phone a send off my picture in that cool point down there. So it may be the last phone I picture on this phone. Well, one of the last anyway. This will be the last place I do it anyway. Newmarket, home of the horses, and also home of some really rare and interesting fire alarm systems. So this is the first episode of Fire Alarm Photos video diaries, and it is also the first time putting my new phone, the Google Pixel 6, to the big test. So as well as picturing fire alarm systems within Newmarket, I will also be documenting the experience. Man, this place is a lot more posh than I expected. Like, I've only been underway for about 5 minutes and I've already seen posh-like places. We haven't even reached the high street yet. Oh, look, it appears there's to be a hospital here. I think I'll go and have a look at it later. Little did I know the hospital only had a Gent Young system, so I bypassed it. When I reach the high street, I find there's already quite a lot of good stuff to be seen, from the Chubb Control Master 600 to the JSP system in the boots. And now we go into the Guinness shopping centre, which is quite unique as most of it is actually outside, a bit like the Ark shopping centre. I almost forgot about this place. I didn't even realise it was even there. I forgot I had looked at this on Google Earth a while ago, but I forgot that it was here. But let's have a look at it. We then go into the Newmarket library, which has a sort of 1990s kind of Gent system, but it's not completely original, as the only things left on the system are in fact the call points. Everything else has all been modernised, the detectors, the sounders, and including the panel, which has recently changed out to a haze panel. Well, it could have originally been some sort of Gent 3260. But at least there are some old devices still left on the fire alarm system, unlike the lift, which seems to be completely modernised. I don't think I've ever seen this type of stand before. There's the logic there. There's the devices. There's a Vesta up there. Still trying to get used to his phone. Second time round. These buttons are easy to press as well.
Doors are closing. This lift is moving down.
I don't think I've ever heard that voice before.
Ground floor. Doors opening.
It's a very strange fire exit, this. And there's like no... Well, you can open this window, but it's kind of no access really. So, next place along, the Works, which has something a bit unusual. Now, you know how you can get like XP95 glasses in the style of various settle elements, but I've just discovered that Hochiki have done the same things, and the call points in the Works have these glasses, even though they're not actually KAC call points, they're Fullion call points. Man, I never knew Hochiki did glasses in the style of various settle elements. That's a Fullion call point, which normally only takes glasses and their own resettable element. You've got a bit of KAC resettable element in that. I think it's the same with XP95. I heard they did glasses for their new style XP95 call points, but I didn't know Hochiki did as well. This one looks nice and old. Do you think it'd be like the one in Stratford, where it has an old fire alarm system? Get this, I guessed it right. It does have an old fire alarm system, and one I haven't seen before. This place kind of reminds me of Corn Exchange, before it closed down years ago. I think it's got the same sort of style front as it. Where's all this anyway? Oh, there's a car park here. Must go in that. That race is going to have something good in it. Now I'm saying, maybe don't get your hopes up with all car parks, for this one has actually nothing. And I mean literally nothing at all. Yeah, there's a Roshni on there. See it? I think it's a new style one. It's red, but it's very faded white or grey. There's a Kentuck in there. Yeah, well, I wonder if I can get into here. Kind of reminds me of the car park in Tesco in Chatham. There's a sprinkler building. It's kind of weird. This little building here has a fire alarm system, but this much bigger car park doesn't. So weird. I reckon this is like the car park in Tesco in Tottenham, which didn't have anything either. It wasn't connected to the main fire alarm system. Look at what we have here. We've got a first generation intelligent call point. We're supposed to hate them, but they tend to get replaced with the newer intelligent call points very often because they're defective. But yeah, we pictured loads of those before they were defective. We will return to the shopping centre later, but now we're going to go back to the main high street, where firstly we stop off at Barclays to picture a Zyton ZP3, then we go into some random cart shop which has some sort of semi-modern generic fire alarm system, but it does have a really cool sign against the call points. Yeah, call point, smile, you literally are on camera right now. And after that we go somewhere much more interesting, quality discount. At least that's what it is at the moment. Only recently I discovered that this particular quality discount actually used to be a Woolworths. And the quality discount still has its original Woolworths fire alarm system to this day. I was already amazed to see what fire alarm system was in this place. And now that I found out that it actually used to be a Woolworths, makes it even better. Because I had always wanted to see what sort of fire alarm systems Woolworths used. But I never thought I'd be able to see a Woolworths fire alarm system. So yeah, the fire alarm system is much older than the quality discount itself. And the fire alarm system is a really old Labcraft system, probably from the late 80s or early 90s. And the system is very nearly complete and original, apart from the single additional call point with the channel glass. But that probably would have been put in when it was still a Woolworths anyway. And it's also got a nice old gated lift as well. Then I walked by a building where an Apollo sounder is actually sounding. Can you hear an Apollo sounder? I don't know where it's coming from though. Quite clearly hear that. There's nothing in that skip, I've just checked. It's a shame this place hasn't a Apollo system though. It's a nice old building, it could have had something much older than that. See if we're coming from this building or TK Maxx. They both have the same sounders. Hence the intelligent fire alarm system. That's the first time this camera's gone out of focus. Is there a sounder in that bit? And now we make our way to the retail park in the north of Newmarket. Yeah, you can tell how horse friendly this place really is. They even roam the streets as well. Okay, it looks like I've made it to the north side of Newmarket, towards Tesco's and home base. So we'll have a look at that shortly. So here we are, we've made it to Tesco's. I'm not going in there because that place looks absolutely modern, it looks brand new. So if we bypass that place, we'll go straight into Tesco's. Now there's a few chances this place could have like a brand new modern Apollo system or a modern Hochiki system, but there's also another chance it could have maybe an old Hochiki system, but we'll see what's in there. I mean, it's really doesn't look all that new, so there's two chances. Now even though Tesco didn't look all that modern on the outside, it was actually a new building that wasn't there for very long. Look at that architecture, it's so weird. It's kind of weird that there aren't many sectors on this system either. Unless there's some hiding up there somewhere. I always believed that Newmarket Tesco was around much longer than this building looks like it's been around for. So I had a look to see how old this building really was. Although judging by the bog standard Apollo XP95 system, it looks particularly modern. A bit like Orpington Tesco Extra. Even though that one disappointed me a bit less than this one. But unfortunately, unlike Orpington Tesco, this one had taken over a nice old Tesco. And a nice old building like that had been wasted just to build a new Tesco in its place. Which is an absolute shame because that Tesco would have actually impressed me a lot more. It could have had something really old in it. And there was no need to build a new Tesco where there already was one. On the other hand though, the petrol station somehow survived. But I didn't have a look at it. But I will probably go back there and take another look. But yeah, clearly we should stop Tesco destroying both their old stores and their forests as well. But at least Tesco don't do anywhere near as much destruction as this company. Okay, we've had bad luck with most of this area, but I think surely because home base is down that bit, there's bound to be something good in that place, surely. Right, this side looks a lot more promising, looks older. Yeah, there's the home base. Certainly looks much older than the Tesco's. It's bound to have something much more interesting. Okay, there's always some sort of repair panel outside every home base that I've been to, almost. So I reckon this one's bound to have one as well. Doesn't matter what kind it is, it could be a Clarkson or it could be one of those new advanced panels. Yeah, look at that, that's more like it. But wait, Menvia bells? Man, that's strange. Okay, just out here there should be a sounder or bell around here somewhere. That bandit doesn't count because it's not part of the fire alarm system. We might have to keep walking until we find out. Okay, there's one. Well, I suppose these newer ones don't really cost that much of the earth. It's really the old ones that kind of don't have any drainage covers on the bottom. So this is now the moment you've been waiting for, the moment of truth to be uncovered, revealing the existence of the Gent Young alarm, or Gent 2516 as it's actually known as. And so this is what happened. So then, the place it was actually in, I was able to access it in 2020, but I stupidly didn't bother picturing any of its fire alarm system, even though it was so rare. But I thought I was going to be able to go back into that place immediately, but I didn't. And later on I did ask most people about this type of sounder, but no one, and I mean no one, really knew about it. No one I knew had ever seen a Gent rebrand Young alarm before. I had literally asked so many people about this type of sounder, and they never knew about it. And some of those guys I asked were even actual Gent fire alarm engineers, and even they had never even heard of one of these sounders before. It became apparent that I was clearly the only one who ever knew about this sounder, and also where to find one. And I needed to find a way to get back into this place, hoping that they would still be there. So in 2022, when I'm back in Newmarket, I figured I'd go back and have a look at the place once again. But mainly just to see how I could get back in there again. Apparently, after minutes of observation, my presence actually gets acknowledged by the occupants of the building. I knew it'd be nerve-wracking, but I had to take that opportunity. I say a couple of things, but then unsurprisingly the response didn't sound all that promising. But then they said they would go in and get the boss, which at that point my heart was literally cleansing, as I did not expect this encounter to go well. But I did manage to try and put on a brave face. But just as I was about to speak up to my intentions, the boss actually recognised me, probably due to the fact that we had seen each other before, back in 2020, but I was not expecting that at all. And so because of that, I was actually able to picture the whole fire alarm system. But I suppose back in 2020 they knew that I was going to do it anyway. So with all the pictures put together, and because of how varied it is, I'd say this is actually one of the most perfect Gent fire alarm systems. Except the panel, which is a Kentex Sigma. And sure, this system doesn't have warblers or 2511 sounders, but it does have a strident, and it has much rarer sounders than that as well. It's also quite interesting that one half of the building is relying on a couple of conventional sounders, and the other half is relying on a strident. I'm guessing that before it had the Yo alarms in probably the 1980s, I believe in the 1970s it could have had a mains powered Gent of Leicester system with the strident. And then when they added most of the modern Gent system, they could have connected the strident via a 230 volt relay and connected it to the 24 volt system. So normally I would wait until the end of the year to decide which photo goes at number 1. But at this point, even though it was so early within the year already, I just immediately decided that the Gent Young was going at number 1, and it did.
It could go down as number 1 in the whole year. I mean, I know we're not even halfway in the year yet, but I think we might just confirm that number 1 photo. Well, today I'm absolutely amazed that I've been able to picture it.
And another thing, when I finally did get a picture of this sounder, I then asked someone who I thought might actually know about it. For this person is a sounder expert and knows about probably every single Gent sounder ever existed, from the warbler to the 2510 and 2511, and even some really old Protec sounders such as the SR2 and the Yo alarm, and even revealed other companies that rebranded the wire for, such as Chum and Shorrock. This person knew about so many really old sounders like this. But get this though, even this sounder expert had never even heard of a Gent rebranded Yo alarm before, and I was just so surprised at that. I guess this shows how rare this sounder really is. But this is where the whole point of fire alarm photos really comes in, to reveal the existence of really rare stuff like this. But I probably should mention one person out of everyone else who actually did know about this sounder, even though he still didn't know the actual Gent product code that this one had. But he claimed he saw a sounder like this being used as a pool alarm sounder. But it's no longer there anymore, as he said to me. Okay, I'm finished talking with that sounder now. Back to the shopping centre.
Okay, before we go, I think we'll quickly ride this eco disc. Yeah, you can tell it's an eco disc, alright? Duos logo on an eco disc. That's weird. Hello.
Going down.
Wait, it's not following it.
Going down. Ground.
I like the texture on this.
I will probably return to Newmarket again sometime. So then, this now wraps up Foreign Photos Video Diaries episode 1 of Newmarket. So, stay tuned for the next episode, filmed on the 20th of April 2022, where we cover 5 places in one day, and it may be one of the biggest Foreign Photos Video Diaries yet, and that it was quite early as well. So quite a lot happens in that day as we cover Walthamstow, Chingford, Meridian Water, Stratford and Ilford all in one video. So as I said, I did quite a lot on that day. And it's not the only thing that happened as well, as we all know.